Welcome to our first of 2 shows for Freetober. These will be available via the OddPods Patreon only, however they are 100% free to everyone. Just follow the link on screen or click the one in the description down below to hear the entire episode. Here is one of our favorite clips from episode 45. Jerome Lill enters the Odd Pod.
When we come back for break, we're going to talk about how you embarrassed the grand jury prosecutor.
Okay.
Because it's one of my favorite stories from the book.
I'll do that.
But, all right, we are back, and we're speaking with Jerome Lill, author of Final Approach and the Battle of Angels. It's a God thing. And Jerome, tell me about Charles.
Charles Holenhouse. That was my Rottweiler. He used to run around the country with me in the back seat of my car, where I put money and the trunks were full of weed and whatever I was doing. And Charlie was my sidekick. Him and Wendy. That was his girlfriend that I bought from Amsterdam, Holland. I shipped her in, and I was breeding Rottweilers. And at the time when I was on trial in Charleston, West Virginia, and my house that I had on Siesta Key in Sarasota, Florida, I had put all the bills and telephones in Charles Holenhouse's name. That was my Rottie. And so there was a nationwide search for my dog, and he had an arrest warrant for him from the federal government. And they were questioning everybody about Charles Holenhouse. My landlord in Sarasota, where I had rented the house, had told him he had met a short, stubby guy named Charlie that he thought was German. That was my dog. And they did all this investigation. They were banging on doors looking for Charles Holenhouse. So after I was convicted, they hit me with a subpoena to appear before a federal grand jury. And one of the things that they were very eager to find out about was Charles Holenhouse. Well, Charles Holenhouse, as I say, he was my Rottweiler. And I just put shit in his name.
Right.
And then he became public enemy number 1 or something. Big smuggler. German guy. So I got in front of the grand jury, and every time I went into the grand jury, they'd ask me a question, and you're allowed to say, I need to speak to my attorney, so you can walk out. So you walk out, you talk to your attorney about the weather. Then you can go back in again, and then you say, would you repeat the question? Okay? And then your final answer is not to the best of my recollection. Okay? Not to my knowledge.
Right.
Try not to lie. Anyway, we got to Charles Holenhouse, and they said, do you know a Charles Holenhouse? And I said, yes, I do. And they said, do you know the whereabouts of Charles Holenhouse? And I said, yes, I do. Well, Charles Holenhouse is my dog. He's out in the truck. First I told him he's in the truck, and he's with his wife, Wendy. And they said, he's here in Charleston, West Virginia right now. I said, yeah, he's in the parking lot in my truck. And they said, would he come in here? And I said, well, I don't know if you want him to come in here. He's my Rottweiler. And the prosecutor just threw his pencil up in the air. They've been looking for this guy. And he was my dog.
It's great.
And Charlie's in the book, too. You can see a picture of him,
Yeah.
too. There's a nice picture of him next to my briefcase.
The absolute sass.
But Charlie was a good story. Charlie, he died while I was in prison. I got the news about him. I lost a lot of animals. I lost a lot of shit from all this. Where I should have been home.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because I think my dog died from a broken heart, which I believe in that stuff.
Yeah.
He run with me for 14 years. He had a good career for being a smuggling dog.
I mean,
he was a good...
how many dogs can say they've been indicted by the grand jury?
Exactly, and I mean, they were looking for him.
The frustration that had to be when it got back to all of the agents who were having to actively look because that indictment.
Oh yeah, they found out they were looking for a dog.
You know, they had to just be angry as hell.
Well, we all laughed about it while it was going on because, you know, there's only a few of us that knew who he was.
Right.
That knew Charles Holenhouse because he had an official name as a purebred Rottweiler.
Yeah.
So he was Charles Holenhouse, and he was a very famous fellow. And you can take a picture and look at him in my book. You'll get a kick out of him.
I can't imagine the excitement that prosecutor must. He's here.
Yeah,
You can finally see the
I'm
guy.
gonna get him.
It's in my truck.
What I can't imagine is how you must have felt while you're doing that. I was like, in the back of your head.
I
that
was waiting,
You just,
but I was waiting to do it.
yeah.
Because I wanted to do it. It was my own thing to go ahead and...
Like if we
Your little middle finger to the government.
if we lived in a cartoon world, I can just picture Jerome sitting there with a fishing pole, just
Oh,
come on,
I was liking it. You know?
I'm pretty good at not laughing in situations like that, but I feel like that one I would lose it. Like,
Well, my lawyer couldn't keep a straight face because he knew. And there's a few fellas that knew about it. Not everybody involved in the case knew who
Right.
it was.
right.
Because we didn't want to let that out right away, you know.
Your poor lawyer had just be off to the side trying his
Oh, well,
best to keep it together.
He was a funny guy. He got indicted. He went to prison before I did, my lawyer.
Thanks for checking out the Odd Pod. If you want to hear the whole show, consider becoming a patron of our Patreon. Head to patreon.com/the Odd Pod. We're also all over social media like an STI that won't wash off. Head to tapdetroit.com/the Odd Pod to follow us today. We're already following you, and you forgot to buy milk.